Yeah.
We can do.
Okay. Okay. Om Jnana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So nice to spend Monday evening with a number of you from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. I work with a number of people that are graduates from UIUC. Um, it is one of the premier colleges of in the Midwest, especially for engineering. And so, because my field is in engineering, I do work with a number of alumni from your school. So I see a number of faces, a number of names here. So welcome. Thank you for joining. Of course, I know Manya has just joined us. Hey, Manya. And then Deepak. Is this Deepak that I know from St. Louis, or is it a different person?
No, I think this is a different person. This is the first time I'm
Um,
meeting you.
Okay,
Uh,
okay, okay, okay.
I'm a graduate student as well from UC. I graduated and I'm also a founder myself. So yeah, I attend Kaushik ji's session in Vivekananda House, and so I saw this meeting coming up. I thought of okay, just thought of joining.
Well, fantastic. Thanks for joining. So I know
Yes.
Deepak Subramaniam from a very young age.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, G. Yeah.
All right. Um, that said, some of you are going to be taking the time to study the Bhagavad Gita as a group on a regular basis, and the fact that you're going to be doing so is absolutely wonderful. I'll tell you a little bit of story about myself. So I first came in touch with the Bhagavad Gita as a book when I was 15 years old. At the time, I was living in Nigeria, Nigeria, Africa. So one of my claims to fame when somebody asks, those icebreakers, what's the unique thing about you? Yes. So for me, the first thing that comes to my mind to share is the fact that I've lived in four different continents. So when I was growing up in Nigeria, Africa, um, I was introduced to a spiritual person speaking on the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, and it attracted me. I was quite intrigued by it. And I read a number of books at that time, and then at the age of 17, I had the opportunity to hold in my hand a Bhagavad Gita. Someone gifted me the Bhagavad. I was so excited. It was like, I've heard of this Bhagavad Gita, and the teachings are so attractive. And I was about to enter college at the age of 17 in Spain, in Europe. And I started reading the Bhagavad Gita, just the introduction piece, and I was, oh my God, this is complicated stuff because it felt like I couldn't understand. I couldn't penetrate this deep ancient wisdom that was this resounding voice from a different age, yet so relevant to my life today. I could tell that is very relevant, but very deep simultaneously. And so I had this epiphany at the time of age of 17, thinking, I need a guru in my life. I need a teacher to teach me this very profound text. And then college happened. Some of you are experiencing college life, and it was crazy, crazy college life. To the point of spiritual pursuit was kept in the back seat. Post college, money and a job and fast cars and all of that gave me time to consider spiritual life. And so I resurrected my pursuit. And at one point in time, I was studying multiple versions of the Bhagavad Gita, doing text by text comparisons of different Bhagavad Gita versions to kind of see which is it that actually speaks to me, speaks to my heart. And then I finally landed on the Bhagavad Gita that you all are going to be reading, which is the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So it is in my, I would say, spiritual sample plate of trying to attempt at figuring out life through various different traditions and different philosophies. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita as a text, has probably been the most powerful, um, pivotal book to steer me towards something that's really, really meaningful. The regular study that you all are going to embark on for the Bhagavad Gita, especially it's noted in the Bhagavad Gita that if you study the Bhagavad Gita with your intelligence, then that is a means of worshiping the Supreme. We all go through life trying to make it, just try to survive sometimes, striving to be successful. Yet, beyond the veneer of success lies something deeper and higher. There's something more meaningful to life. And perhaps your interest in the Bhagavad Gita is coming from that innate intuition. There is something deeper and higher to life. What I found in my study of various traditions and philosophies, etc., that the Bhagavad Gita has answered for me, because I'm a very strong rationalist, it answered for me the most amount of questions and in the most reasonable way, reasonable, logical way. That was my subjective experience when reading the Bhagavad Gita. In any spiritual tradition or any spiritual path, there has to be a leap of faith of some kind. Yet I found with the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita that leap didn't have to be as high as with some other paths that I was exploring at the time. So with the regular study of Bhagavad Gita, what happens is that one comes in touch with what is that beyond the veneer of success and material pursuit? What is it that's powerful and meaningful? And so the heart starts to become satisfied. Those deepest questions of existential questions that one might have, they start to open up. I'll tell you another quick story. Uh, there's a person that I do a weekly Bhagavad Gita study group. And there's a person sitting in the middle of a small little town, Illinois. Like nobody knows about it. 2,000 people live there. And this person somehow got to know that I have these online course reading groups, and they joined. Someone Caucasian person, and they when they started reading the Bhagavad Gita, and this is after they've explored Buddhism and they've explored, of course, Christianity, because that's the tradition they're born into. When they start reading the Bhagavad Gita, their expression, they've been with me now for 2 years. Their expression is, it has answered the most deepest questions that I've had that I've not been able to answer before. Bhagavad Gita. Another quick story. I have a spiritual teacher, and he tells me his story. He too, when he was young, went through this variety of spiritual path exploration. And he too went through the same realization that Bhagavad Gita answered these deep questions through a regular study. That's what happened. Now, specifically, you all will be reading the Bhagavad Gita that's called the Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita that's called Bhagavad Gita as it is. And the reason it's described as Bhagavad Gita as it is because Let me share my screen here and I'll explain this a little bit. Kaushik, can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. So this is a man, his name is Robert Miner, who has written a book on modern Indian interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita. So basically, what he did is he studied a variety of texts or commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, and he found in his exploration, his assessment, that this Bhagavad Gita, as it is that you're about to read, is probably comes closest to the intent of the original author. That was his conclusion. This is a unbiased scholar, not necessarily favoring any one author or one particular representation or interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. And he found that this particular Bhagavad Gita, as it is the closest to the intent of the original author. Now, like I shared with you in my exploration, I had a couple of Bhagavad Gitas that I was studying text by text, commentary by commentary. And I got to a point where I shut one of them and I took this Bhagavad Gita as it is. And as I shared with you, my spiritual teacher, he had 7 different copies of the Bhagavad Gita. And he ultimately picked this Bhagavad Gita as it is. What's special about it? I don't know if any of you do business, but when you think of strategy for any enterprise or any business, you think about a phrase called competitive advantage. What is it that you're offering that's unique that others can't offer? And therefore you'll be successful in your business. So this Bhagavad Gita, as it is, what I like to say from a business standpoint, because I've studied business, is that the competitive advantage is that this Bhagavad Gita is presenting things as they are because it's coming from a line of guru and teachers, guru and disciple, or teacher and student from way back when, 5,000 years ago. You can trace back the teacher student lineage. There's a famous saying, my my friend and I read the Bible day and night. He reads black, I read white, right? It's very easy to misinterpret or have different ideas, etc., etc. So the way to get the original message, as also presented in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a nice verse in the fourth chapter that says, "Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu," that the message of the Bhagavad Gita is presented in disciplic succession or is presented in a teacher-student lineage, and in that lineage, the message remains intact. An analogy I like to give is think of a tree. When you have a tree and a beautiful, wonderful mango fruit right at the top of the tree, juicy mango fruit, for it to be received on the bottom, ostensibly where we are, is that it has to be very carefully handed down, or somebody has to climb up to the top of the tree, pluck the uh, pluck that mango, and then gently bring it down. If you just drop the mango from the top of the tree, it's just going to splatter on the ground. You can't enjoy it. Similarly, to receive this most intricate and deep knowledge about the self, that knowledge needs to sort of be handed down gently, with purity, without trying to mess with the mango, without trying to inject hormones in it or whatever. That the mango is presented as it is, as it was plucked from the top of the tree. And then you receive the full juice of the mango. Similarly, this Bhagavad Gita, as it is to receive the full juice of what was intended by the author himself. And arguably, the author is God. One palpably feels closeness to the Supreme by reading the Bhagavad Gita, by studying the Bhagavad Gita, and the words, the Sanskrit words of the Bhagavad Gita. Each verse is a means to connect with God. What else will you get out of reading the Bhagavad Gita? Again, it's said in the Bhagavad Gita itself. What's even said outside of the Bhagavad Gita? Let me, I'll show you a verse here. See if you can see it. Are you able to see it?
Yeah, it's it.
Yeah. Okay. So towards the end of the Gita, Krishna makes this statement. What do you get from reading the Bhagavad Gita? Brahma Bhuta. You become one with the Absolute. Meaning you're touching transcendence. You're in a material body. We're distinct from the material body. That's not who we really are. And now we come in touch with the Absolute Truth, Brahma. Prasanatma, you become very happy, joyful, like seriously joyful. Even when the going gets tough, there's an inner, not just peace, but there's an inner joy. How do you feel protected and happy when things are crazy? The Bhagavad Gita gives you that secret. Na sochati, you're not hankering, or you're not lamenting. Nakangshati. Sochati means to lament, and nakangshati means to hanker after. And this is so beautiful. A lot of my time, my wife and I spend a lot of time as relationship coaches. And we find that people really struggle with having good relationships. And they struggle with having warm, personal, vibrant relationships. So, what the Bhagavad Gita gives you, because of having in depth spiritual realization through the imbibing of this message of the Bhagavad Gita, that you start to see others equally and you start to see their spiritual essence, samam sarveshu bhuteshu, that you see there's not necessarily a huge difference between myself and the other person, even if there's conflict or even if there's difference of opinion. So there's relationships become solid, relationships become wonderful through the reading of the Bhagavad Gita. And then finally, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param, that one receives this, the most precious gift of love of God. The rest are all side effects, being joyful, not lamenting, not hankering, seeing everyone equally, and therefore having nice relationships, all side effects. The real beauty of the Bhagavad Gita is it gives you bhakti, pure bhakti, meaning love, pure love of God. And that's where the train is headed with this Bhagavad Gita study. Something else you'll find in the Bhagavad Gita is that it presents for you a beautiful relationship of between the student and the teacher, Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna is super loving to Arjuna, super empathic, super caring as a teacher. He validates Arjuna's struggles. Who doesn't go through struggles? We all go through struggles. Arjuna himself, as the greatest warrior of all time, who's the recipient of the Bhagavad Gita, the original recipient of the Bhagavad Gita, he's going through a lot of struggle and pain. And Krishna expresses beautiful words of compassion and at the same time instruction to move Arjuna's consciousness towards higher consciousness. When Arjuna experiences this through the Bhagavad Gita, we learn later in his life, after Krishna leaves the planet, Arjuna is feeling this deep grief. He's like really lamenting and is in pain and is in sorrow. "Ah, Krishna has left me." And he's speaking to his brother, Yudhishthir, his older brother. He's saying, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I don't think I need to live anymore. He's just this distraught, depressed person. And in that hour of dejection, Arjuna remembers the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna had given him. And just remembering the teachings, Arjuna becomes enlivened, his heart becomes softened, his countenance becomes bright and energized again, and he is present and ready for the next challenge of life. Just by remembering the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. So these are all the beautiful benefits that you all will potentially receive through your sincere embarking on this journey of reading the Bhagavad Gita. So that's the main things I wanted to share. We're 25 minutes, and see if there are any reflections or questions or something that you've been thinking about related to the Bhagavad Gita uh, that you'd like to share with the group here.
Right. So everyone can unmute and share. Um,
Manya.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. Um, I'm excited to read, and a question that I had for you was what should be our mood as we approach the Gita, especially because it's kind of set in a battlefield and Arjuna has these doubts, and sometimes I try to think about, oh, maybe I have doubts in my life that are similar. Is
Mhm.
that the right approach? And how would you recommend taking that instruction in a practical way?
The instruction of the how to approach or the instruction of having doubts, not having doubts.
Um, the instruction of whenever Krishna is giving instructions to Arjuna, whenever he has doubts, um, is it
How
better?
to approach, how to
Yeah,
bring
how to kind of break that down and apply it in our lives, or
okay, sure.
is it meant to just kind of observe and see how it goes?
You can certainly do that. So, how to approach the Bhagavad Gita? If we have doubts, we will have doubts. We may not, to be able to express our doubts, one needs to feel safe. One needs to have a safe environment, a non-judgmental, and an environment that allows for that open expression of doubts that we have. Every soul has doubts. We have doubts about what's going to happen tomorrow, what to speak of doubts about how is this universe created, and doubts about who am I? Staring in a mirror, thinking deeply looking deeply into our eyes and thinking, who am I? So these doubts, all of us will have them, but what's important is to have a safe environment, a safety net within which we can express those doubts without feeling shy, without feeling embarrassed, without feeling, hey, is that a silly question? So Arjuna exemplifies for us in the Bhagavad Gita the mood of the sincere student. And the mood of the sincere student is that regardless of their level of confusion and regardless of the social status, like Arjuna is the friend of Krishna and he's, like I said, the greatest warrior of all time, despite that very high social position, he expresses very basic questions. And Krishna received those questions with a lot of love. And he responded to Arjuna in expansive narrations that make up the Bhagavad Gita. Not only that, Arjuna asks the same question multiple times. The beginning of chapter 3, the beginning of chapter 5, the beginning of chapter 12. Arjuna is basically asking the same question over and over again. And us as observers of this sacred dialogue will consider, oh my God, doesn't Arjuna get it? Why is he asking the same question again? The fact of the matter is, spiritual subject matters are quite deep, and it's likely that one may not be able to understand immediately, even if the answer is given, you know, easily and repeatedly. So Arjuna presents for us this sincere student that's not self-conscious necessarily and is humbly yet honestly just expressing his heart and repeatedly asking the same question till he got it. And then finally he says, Krishna, I got it. Krishna says, look, I can tell you the whole Bhagavad Gita at the end, and you can make your choice of what you would like to do. Krishna doesn't force Arjuna to do anything. That's God's sweet nature. He doesn't force us. He allows us to make the choice. He gives us the knowledge. And so he tells Arjuna, whatever you like to know, I can repeat the whole Bhagavad Gita again if you like. Arjuna says, no, 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 I got it. Nashta moha smriti labdha. My illusion is gone and my memory is restored. I know exactly what to do now. Thank you, Krishna. So the mood that Arjuna exemplifies, or the instruction for us, is to open our hearts to the process and to be inquisitive and see what happens. Just kind of like be curious and see what happens. Magic can happen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manya. Anyone else have a comment? I know we wanted to end at 9, right, Kaushik? Did you want to?
If anyone has questions, we can go for now.
Okay, sure.
I mean, I just want to share like the way you took the discussion was very amazing. You shared your own experiences of a friend whom you met. I mean, the one student who attends your class also shared about why the person who put Gita is perfect. So that was nice to know about that. The book too, as the person who has researched about all the commentaries existing, I never knew about it. That's nice. So that shows like how authentic is the Gita we are going to read.
Mm.
And also it was nice to know about the benefits of reading Gita. So from one verse you summarized all of it. So that is nice. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
It's
welcome.
also beautiful how you answered the question about how we can approach the Gita and we can get the best out of it. And it will be open and inquisitive and not care much about, not be so self-conscious, but be more ready to gain knowledge. That's how it can be revealed to us. It was nice. Thank you so much. And if anyone has questions, please feel free. It's not very, like, it's not very easy to get the association of such persons who are
Such crazy
deeply
people.
living the life of Gita. So if anyone has anything to share, please feel free. Um,
Or any reflection, anything that
yeah.
you're concerned about, or have some thought on or reflection about your spiritual life so far. Sabarish?
Hello. Thank you so much for walking through the your expressions on what you have met with people. So, I've just started reading. So, how important is to read from in the Sanskrit phase to get the essence. I'm not very good at reading the Sanskrit part.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I do know how to read Hindi, the words are sometimes structured hard, and I know there are like translations of it, but I'm not a vivid reader. But as a reader who is trying to inculcate that habit, every time I try to read through the Sanskrit, I lose my tempo, and then I don't end up doing a lot. So I wanted to know like how important is like reading the verse through the Sanskrit. Uh, mm,
Good question. Good question. Um, by the way, I like your name, Ananta Narayan. You know what it means, right?
no.
No. Ananta means unlimited. Narayan means Ayana means shelter, and Nara means people or human or
Okay.
jivas or living entity. So Narayan means the shelter of all humans, which is the supreme God. And then Ananta means unlimited. So the unlimited supreme Lord.
Okay. That's my dad's name actually. Uh, first part is my name. My second is my dad's name.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come from the
So
south. So yeah.
so my response to that would be It depends on your inclination as a practitioner. I have seen the full gamut, the full spectrum, where there are persons who are super into the Sanskrit, right? And for them, a friend of mine, we're on a group chat together, and often he'll send me all kinds of messages, right, of this particular word in Sanskrit, how it connects to five different other words in the same chapter in Sanskrit for the Bhagavad Gita. He's like totally diving into every word of the Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit. Okay, that's a friend of mine who's uh, one end of the spectrum, I would say. The other end of the spectrum, and this is not like one is better than the other, but on the other end of spectrum, like some people I know will not read the Sanskrit, even if you like force them. Say, please read Sanskrit. No, I'm just going to read the English and the commentary, which is fine because the message remains the same. And it's about the getting the essence of the messages. You see, one of the things that we learn about God or Krishna is that he's known as Bhava Grahi Janardana, that he takes the bhava, or that he accepts the bhava or the mood of the person. So know that because in your heart there's a very dear neighbor, the dearest neighbor you have. Most people don't like the neighbors nowadays, but your closest neighbor is Krishna, is God in your heart. And he mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita, Suridam Sarva Bhutanam, that I'm the dearest well-wisher in your heart, right by you. So in our heart, we have the seat of consciousness, the soul, and then we have the super soul next to us. And so he accepts just the essence of what our consciousness is. So, on a practical level, we don't have to start reading the Sanskrit. We can start with just the English if that's what's comfortable for us. But what we can start to do is look at maybe the word for word. And that's why this particular Bhagavad Gita is probably the only Bhagavad Gita, one of the few Bhagavad Gitas you'll see every Sanskrit word has a transliteration English counterpart. That mapping is so helpful to ease our self into this study of the Sanskrit. Frankly, that's how I started. And my ability to read Sanskrit now has tremendously increased because of just slowly observing the word for word transliteration that's in the Bhagavad Gita you'll be reading. So you can gradually restart with that,
Acha.
but you go to, you can read, you can begin mostly with the English and dabble in the Sanskrit just a little bit. Your ability to connect with the message is not dependent on the Sanskrit. Let me just say that. However, you could certainly have a richer experience by learning more of the Sanskrit. That's what I found.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Does that help?
actually, yeah, that really helps. Yeah, that actually makes slightly feel lighter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And also, thanks for going over the part where you explain there should be no judgment to ask questions,
Mm.
and I think that's a very important thing that you walked over, which actually also made feel better. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Sabri.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you for your question. Yeah.
thank you.
Anyone else? Sujan? Diwanji?
Thanks a lot, Prabhu, for explaining and introducing the Bhagavad Gita to us. And I have a small question, actually, a small query. You said, like, as also we all know, like, Bhagavad Gita is very relevant to our daily life. And if we face any problem in our life, we should refer to Bhagavad Gita. So, going forward in my life, I face a lot of problem every day, maybe um academically or like family based problems or any other problems, but I wanted to know, is there any index or like anything that can I follow if I'm facing a specific problem in my life,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, for the solution of the problem, which part of the Bhagavad Gita I should refer to?
Good question. Thank you, Sujan. Uh, Here's a secret. Life, it doesn't happen by chance. At every step of the way, we are presented with opportunities for learning. And our experiences and the challenges and the obstacles we are experiencing from moment to moment or day to day are customized and curated for us specifically and personally. Each one of us go through our own unique set of challenges on a daily or a moment to moment basis. And we can be convinced of the fact that those circumstances have been orchestrated by some supreme person who's in our heart, offering the opportunity to learn and grow. So that said, the beauty of the practice of reading Bhagavad Gita that I've seen in my own self, I've experienced it personally, and then I've seen many others too, that when you're experiencing a challenge, you just open the book, and most often you will land up in a page that will address your heart for what you're dealing with at that time. It's magic. That said, okay, this is a little esoteric and maybe unbelievable. I will also say that many devotees have studied this thoroughly and provided a big map of, okay, if you're experiencing anger, these are the verses you go to. If you're experiencing fear, these are the verses you go to. If you experience anxiety, if you're experiencing loneliness, this is where you go. If you're experiencing grief, this is where you go, etc., etc. So if you're, whatever you're experiencing, there's specific areas of Bhagavad Gita you can go to. There are charts like that. I'm sure Kaushik has one of them or 10 of them that he can share.
Well, I'll put it in the group. I have one.
Okay.
Mhm.
We don't learn necessarily just by knowledge, especially spiritual subject matters, Sujan. We learn best when there's a relationship with a teacher who has that knowledge and gives it to us. What I'm trying to say is that when you're going through a difficult time, of course, you cannot do it every day, but when you're going through a fairly difficult time, one of the best ways to deal with it is to approach someone who knows the Bhagavad Gita and has imbibed the Bhagavad Gita, not just theoretically understand the concepts like a professor in a school or something, but someone who has practically applied it. That's why the best professors are those who have actually been part of industry as well, not just academia. To find a professor of the Bhagavad Gita who has lived the laboratory of life and applied it, and then they can share with you that knowledge that then not just stays in the head level, but it penetrates into your heart and transforms your consciousness to help you in those difficult times of life.
Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Yeah, it helps me. I'll definitely collect the chart from Kaushik. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, Deepak.
Yeah. So thank you for this introductory session. And I I would like to hear from you. Like, how are we so sure that we are following or we are doing the right thing in our life, or maybe uh, like how can we very sure that this is the purpose I really want to do in our life? And how do you found this is your purpose? If if uh, I'm sure like you would have already found one, or you, all of us will be in the process of finding. Keep asking the question throughout a journey, or maybe we don't have answer for it until the last breath. We will be asking this question, but still we do the right thing in our life. I don't know, but I really want to hear it from you. For someone like we are in Gen Zs, this generation is really very less attention span. We have only 1 minute 30 seconds, just like an Instagram Reels. So if that is the
That high?
case,
1 minute 30 seconds? Wow. Okay. I heard it was more less than that, but okay.
yeah, it's declining, but that is an average attention span in recent times. So if that is the case, it's very difficult to keep doing something that immediately, until unless we see an immediate belief or immediate relief or immediate value, it's very difficult for us to stick to something consistently. So,
Very true.
in the process of defining this purpose for ourselves, what inputs or what have you learned in this journey which we can take it forward?
Excellent question. Um, Purpose is personal. Each one of us will have a pursuit of purpose that itself is a personal journey, and how we frame and how we articulate that purpose for ourselves will be very personalized. The journey is personalized, and the articulation or the clarity of what that purpose is also personalized. For me, you're asking my story a little bit more, and I'll share. So for me, uh, so a little bit more personal sharing. I was in high school, age of 17, in Nigeria, and there was this award. They call it the Best Student Award. In the US, it's called the valedictorian. Valedictorian is lesser than that because valedictorian is just academically who's the highest. But in my school, it was the Best Student Award included academics, sports, extracurricular activities, personality, etc., etc. So many things though considered. So I coveted that prize, and I really wanted it. And there I was in my final year of high school, deeply wanting that accolade for myself. I thought that was success of life. So the day came when the announcement was going to be made, and the principal of the school was standing. It was a school of about 1,000 students, and they made the announcement, and the best student award goes to, and they announced my name. I walked up to the podium, received the accolade, received the prize, placed that thing. When I got home, I placed it on the piano that we had in the house, and I looked inside, and there was a very minimal zip in the buzz of achievement and accomplishment, and I felt empty past that. And then I knew at that point in time, this is not success. Material success doesn't cut it. It's not my purpose of life. So since then, I mean, even that was a very defining moment. I don't remember too much from high school. I'm old, as you can see, older, and you can see I barely have any hair anymore. But I realized then, and it was such a meaningful experience for me and pivotal experience for me that I still remember the details of that experience that I'm sharing with you now. So at that point, I knew it was not material success, but I didn't have a positive spiritual purpose to my life yet. I knew what I don't want. I didn't know what I wanted on a positive side. If that makes sense. And then I went through life a little bit more. And three things. When I took up the process of mantra meditation, chanting, but even before that, yeah, I took up the process of mantra meditation, I found that uh, it gave me an inner strength, a strength that I didn't have earlier. Earlier in my life, in college, I had certain weaknesses and vices, and I didn't want to indulge in them, but I would helplessly indulge in them because of lack of strength. But then when I took up this chanting process, the mantra meditation process, I found strength within that I was able to give up those vices that were haunting me for years. Like that, just like that. It gave me an inner strength. I was like, oh wow, this must be real. This stuff is like it's not a false advertisement. It's like a real process. So that's number one. Number two is this Bhagavad Gita. As we were studying the Bhagavad Gita, it gave me, like I said earlier, it was the most reasonable, bulletproof philosophy that I'd come across in my life. And today, only more so, even after being exposed to so many different traditions and religions and this and that. And the third was that the people of this path, of the Bhakti Yoga path, that when I met them, I found in them sincere people who were exhibiting qualities, even though they're not like, way up there, senior monks of the society or anything like that, but they, almost like me, like they're just, regular Joe Blows doing whatever they're doing. And they exhibited for me qualities, spiritual qualities, and I found in them, wow, this stuff is real. Like you start practicing this, you actually gain some spiritual qualities. So these three things gave me faith in the process, and the purpose started to get defined because I was just attracted to the process. And the purpose was I wanted something higher. I wanted something deeper. I don't want to pursue material success. It may come, no problem. But I'm trying to pursue the supreme. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the supreme is. I don't know what my relationship with the supreme is, but that's what I want to pursue. And then through this yoga path that gave me little like crumbs along the path, like inner strength, beautiful examples of devotees, bulletproof philosophy, these things refined for me what that purpose is. That purpose being, I'm actually God's servant. I am an insignificant, tiny part and parcel of God. And I'm meant to serve him. He's amazing, he's great, everything comes from him. And it's my duty to serve. Not just my duty, it's my happiness. My happiness is in finding his happiness, is in serving him. And so that's how the purpose got, first as when you're walking, when you're driving towards a hill in the distance, it looks very, bleak and not so clear. But as you drive closer to the hill, now it becomes really clear and you can see all the trees and the roads on the hill, etc. So for me, it was like that. I started, it was fuzzy and all of that. But now, I've been practicing for several decades. I come closer to see, oh, now I know the path or the purpose, I should say, the hill that I'm shooting for is very clear. I'm Krishna's servant. I'm a servant of God, and my purpose of life is to serve others who are also parts of God. Therefore, I'm on this call with you guys.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Aminaji, for sharing your life experience relating to why you are doing what you do. One quick follow up, maybe I'll take another five seconds to ask this question. So, uh, like, how do you want to remember in the world? Let's say after 100 years, if someone is searching you in the Google, Yamunaji, do you have wish to come up in Google and What is that wish could be?
I've thought about that several times. I've thought about it from 500 years from now as well, not just 100. Um, my primary thing that I value is I want to be I want to be known as a genuine and sincere devotee and devotee of God. If it shows up, I don't care that it shows up, honestly speaking. It probably will not show up 100 years from now if somebody searches my name. They'll find somebody else. Just like I was saying, Deepak Subramaniam is that guy, is actually somebody else. It wasn't the guy I was thinking.
Actually,
So, you know, I don't expect that 100 years from now someone finds me. But moment to moment, while I'm here, while I have this body, who knows what might happen tomorrow? I might get severely ill and off I go. But while I have this body and I'm here on this planet with this particular body, may I be of service. May I be of service. Because I know on a moment to moment basis, service to others is what's pleasing to God. Being an instrument is the greatest happiness of the soul.
mm,
And that's what we really want to do. And what my role is will be very different than what your role is as an instrument. And it's absolutely fine. If I'm meant to write books and transform hearts by the millions, so be it. Probably not going to happen. I have a long way to go for that. But if my role is to simply raise two beautiful children that Krishna has given me in a way that they can contribute in the world in a powerful way, so be it. That's my service to humanity and make the world a slightly better place than when I walked into it in this body.
amazing. Thank you so much, Samanarji.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question, Deepak. How are
Great.
you doing in time?
Yeah. I think thank you so much. You stayed with us for long and so amazing answers. Like really, I mean, it feels like everything is pouring out from your heart, from your realizations, and from what you live by. It's not none of the answers that you gave were theoretical. So that was amazing, and it gave us a lot. This evening was very special for us. Thank you so much, and it gives us powerful start for the Bhagavad Gita. Please offer your kind prayers so we can have a sincere study of the Gita. Thank you
My
so much.
my my prayers to you, for all of you to enjoy your study. And Kaushik, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored. And it was wonderful spending this evening with all of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, the stakes and expectations have gone up after this. See,
Well, and if you know I'm if there's a need for more question and answer sessions, happy to do that at some later date.
Oh yeah,
As
I think we should do it like in between, maybe at some point of our study. So if some questions are there, and kind of have some discussion after maybe few weeks. If
sure.
we can have that would be nice.
Okay.
Yes, thank you
Many
so much.
blessings and Hare Krishna. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.